Welcome to the G World。 皆様おはようございます。本日は G580 with EQ Technology の発表会にお越しいただき誠にありがとうございます。9月1日よりメルセデス・ベンツ日本合同会社の社長に就任いたしましたゲルティンガーです。どうぞよろしくお願いいたします。皆様、まずは後世エイトロックス、そしてシゲキックスに大きな拍手を。ブレイクダンスはまさに一つ一つの筋肉を細かくコントロールすることで、我々が想像もつかない動きを表現し、見てる人を魅了するダンスを繰り広げます。今回発表させていただく G580 も電気自動車の特徴を最大限に生かし、4輪それぞれに対応するモーターを搭載、各車輪を個別に制御することで今までにない走りを実現しております。G クラスは誕生から今日までメルセデス・ベンツの SUV の頂点に立つ存在であり、その G クラスが今回の EV 化により新たに電気自動車の頂点をも極める存在となります。本日は G クラスの魅力を詰め込んだ The G ワールドを G ファクターという切り口で皆様にご紹介いたします。 G ファクターの一つ目、この車の最大の特徴は走破性です。先ほどご覧いただいたように、その場で最大2回転旋回する G ターンはこの車両の特徴の一つです。オフロード走行中、行き止まりに遭遇し U ターンが必要な時など、最大720度その場で旋回できるこの機能が活躍します。他にも、後輪片側の駆動力を固定して狭いコーナーを曲がることが可能にする G ステアリング、不整地でも一定の速度を維持してステアリング操作に集中し走行可能なオフロードクロール機能、最大45度の途半性能、またマフラーや空気の取り入れ口が不要となることで内燃機関モデルと比較しプラス15センチの水深85センチまでは走行可能となり、電気自動車だからこそ実現できた機能を持ち合わせています。このように G580 はオフロード走行でも高いパフォーマンスを提供するメルセデス・ベンツの SUV と電気自動車両方の頂点に立つモデルです。ここで本日主役の G クラスの映像をご覧ください。G クラスはドライビングそのものを楽しむためのパートナー、どんな冒険にも一緒に出かけたくなるたくましくもチャーミングな存在です。この会場の奥には G クラスの45年間の歴史と進化を象徴する G320、G63AMG6x6、G550 4x4 スクエアド、また震災支援で活躍したトラックを本日展示させていただきました。 それぞれが独自の特徴と魅力を持ち、G クラスのファンやコレクターから愛されています。次に G クラスの歴史をお話しさせていただきます。1979年に本国ゲレンデワーゲンとしてデビューし、その後1994年に現在の G クラスへとモデル名称を変更しました。 G クラスはパワートレーンや安全装備などその時代時代に合わせ最新のものへとアップデートしていますが、オンロードオフロード問わずタフであらゆる場面で安全快適な乗り心地、またどんな悪路でも走行できる走破性をドライバーに提供し続けています。また一目で G クラスと分かるデザインがこのモデルの特徴ですが、愛され続ける理由の一つではないかと思っております。日本のマーケットではこの変わらぬスクエアでアイコニックなデザインが非常に人気で、多くのお客様にご愛用いただいております。また G クラスはオーストリアのグラーツ工場で生まれ、現在まで生産され続けています。工場に併設のエクスペリエンスセンターでオフロード性能を鍛え上げ、車両を開発し、熟練の作業員が一台一台丁寧に車両を組み立て、世界の各マーケットに送り出しています。さて、本日ここ G ワールドには SUV、電気自動車の両方の頂点に立つ G580 を先頭に SUV モデルと EQ モデルが一度に展示してあります。電気自動車はエントリーの EQA からラグジュアリーのメルセデス・マイバッハ EQS680SUV、 そして本日発表の G クラスを加え8車種13モデルとなります。 SUV に関して言えば販売比率が増え、近年は2台に1台が SUV となります。メルセデス・ベンツの販売における位置づけは年々重要度を増しています。その重要な SUV モデルにさまざまなお客様のニーズに応えるべく、この秋には多数の特別仕様車を企画しております。今月上旬には GLB や GLC、GLC クーペで、そして来月11月にはエディションブラックスターズという特別仕様車をオンライン先行販売モデルとして発表販売する予定です。この特別仕様車は随所にブラックアクセントを施してナイトバッケージを装着した特別なモデルです。さらに数多くのメルセデス・ベンツモデルの中からお客様一人一人のニーズに合ったお車を見つけていただくために、幅広いラインアップの市場体感キャンペーンを販売店で実施しております。特にバラエティに富んだ SUV のラインアップを体験いただく機会を設けています。今後もさらなる SUV の拡販を目指していこうと思っております。G ワールドに話を戻しますと、本日このイベントのために特別に制作したスワロフスキークリスタルを散りばめた G ワールドのモニュメントや G クラスになぞらえた軽食をキッチンカーで用意しておりますので、お時間ある方はぜひこの G ワールドをお楽しみください。ここから商品の紹介を本社 G クラスプロダクトマネージャーのトニー・メンテレよりご説明いたします。トニー、please come up to the stage.
Thank you. Konnichiwa. Ladies and gentlemen, it's exactly 1 year ago that we presented our EQG concept car here on the Japan Mobility Show in Tokyo. And as we promised you last year, now it's time to introduce our beautiful G580 with EQ technology, our all-new, all-electric G-Class. But before I go into the technical details with you, I would like to start with our three major strategic pillars when it came to the development and the production of our new G-Class generation. And actually what you can see here, ladies and gentlemen, it's not just a marketing slogan. It's really off-road unlimited, established 1979, what we had in our mind when we started to develop this new car right from the scratch. And I would like to start with our first pillar, off-road. Because as you all might know, we produced this car since more than 45 years now. We started to produce it in 1979 in Graz, Austria. And what we did, we didn't just make sure that all the G-Wagons we produce right now are as off-road capable as all the predecessors. We also used electrification to make them even better. Then our second pillar, unlimited. Unlimited in every way, because there are a lot of manufacturer options to make the G-Wagon your very own and personal item. And I will also talk about the powertrain situation we offer in a bit. And of course, as you can see on the right picture, we take our DNA coming from the past and make sure that also the new G-Class generation looks like a proper G-Class. So let's start with off-road capabilities and what our engineers had in mind, and they had a clear target already in 1979, develop and produce the best off-road vehicle in the world. And this is what really drives us today. We also want to keep production of the best off-road vehicles and now of the best electric off-road vehicle as well. So all the off-road figures, all the off-road values, from a proper G-Class, they will all be integrated as well, and you will all find them in the electric G-Wagon, the new G580. So before we come back to the off-road capabilities, and there is more to discover, I promise you, in a bit, I will talk about unlimitation. So as you all know, there are a lot of different functionalities and a lot of different offerings when it comes to individualization. So special exterior paints, special interior upholsteries, but especially before someone can configure his or her personal item, the personal unique G-Wagon, the first way to go for it is to select one of those great powertrains we have in our portfolio right now. So the very successful G450 diesel, ladies and gentlemen, the most important engine coming from the past, also in the Japanese market. We didn't just electrify our all-electric G-Wagon. We also electrified our G450 diesel, as well as our G63 with the very powerful V8 engine. So we are using the latest 48-volt technology, ISG, so integrated starter generator, to electrify our combustion versions as well. We give those cars more boost functionality. We have the possibility to regain electric energy when we brake the car in terms of recuperation. So we make both of our combustion versions as efficient as possible and as powerful as possible. But of course, the highlight on this picture is our G580 with 4 individual electric motors and a big battery I will talk a bit about in detail in a bit. But before I do this, I want to talk about our third pillar, established 1979. And what you can see here, we really compared a car from 1979 to our latest G-Class generation in 2024. And what you can see directly is that we didn't change the shape of the car. So the iconic G-Class exterior design is what we had in mind when we developed the new car. So also the special design elements like the round headlamps, the indicators on top of the car, and if you turn the car around, the round spare wheel on the back, the iconic G-Class spare wheel, of course you will find all those design highlights also with our new electric G-Wagon. I was talking about off-road, so the major and most important topic when we talk about an electric G-Wagon in the future. So, slope climbing ability, 45 degrees climbing up a hill or driving down a hill. Of course, that's essential for every off-road vehicle. So we started from scratch and said, this is what we really have to achieve. And of course, if you are in the mountains or if you are in a really proper off-road terrain, there might be some water, there might be a river you want to cross. So the cool thing with an all-electric G-Wagon is we don't need air to breathe for the combustion engines. So we had the possibility to increase the wading depth, coming from 700 millimeters and going up to 850. And of course, you all know there are differential locks, mechanical differential locks, 3 of them in every combustion G-Wagon. So we can interlock the wheels and make sure all of them are turning with the same speed. So if there is one wheel with some slip, no problem for all the combustion G-Wagons because we just lock our differentials and the car is driving uphill easily and very comfortable. We're using the same principle for the electric G-Wagon, but of course now we are talking about virtual differential locks because we can tell every single individual electric motor when to turn, when to accelerate, or when to recuperate. So this gives us much more possibilities in driving performance and especially in off-road performance of the all-electric G-Wagon. But there is more to talk about when we talk about electric G-Wagon. First of all, the main ingredient when we start to develop a G-Wagon is we are using the very, very robust leather frame. So it's the only Mercedes-Benz passenger car with a leather frame. And we produced the G-Wagon since 1979 with a very robust leather frame. And the target was to integrate the battery package of this car into this leather frame. So it was not possible to just take an EQE or EQS battery from the Mercedes-Benz shelf and put it into that car. We had to make sure that it fits into that very robust frame. So we had to make the battery much slimmer, but therefore higher. So we are using also 12 battery modules in this car, like we do for an EQS, for example. But there we have them not stacked on one level. We have 6 modules on the first floor and another 6 on the second floor. And in between those 2 battery floors, we have 3 levels of cooling system to make sure also with high outside temperatures in really hot off-road areas, this battery will never gonna overheat. So that's very important for the battery. And since we packed the battery in this new proper way, in this sandwich concept, we had the possibility to integrate it into the leather frame. So it's perfectly saved from the side, also from impacts if there would be an accident with the car. So that's the battery system. But of course, we also have to talk about the electric motors. So there are 2 of them on the rear axle, and there are another 2 of them packed in one housing on the front axle. All of them are exactly the same. All of them have 108 kilowatt and 291 newton meter. That means 1,164 newton meters of torque, compared to figures like 850 newton meters in the G63 with a powerful V8. That's really a lot of torque, and this gives you an acceleration power to accelerate this 3.1-ton car in only 4.7 seconds from 0 to 100 km/h. So it's really a good feeling when you accelerate with this amazing G-Wagon. Especially, let's talk about the 2-speed gearbox. You know, all G-Wagons have a low range reduction. That means a special mechanical gear to go off-road with low speeds. And we also have mechanical gearboxes in the electric version. So there are not just 4 electric motors, we have on top 4 gearboxes. So every motor comes with a high range and a low range gear, where we switch from 1:11 gear ratio to 1:22. That means if the electric motor turns 22 times, the wheel will turn 1 time. And this gives you really a lot of torque and power on every wheel. Just in figures, we go up from 3,000 newton meter per wheel up to 4,500. So if you sum up all the newton meters that come to the wheels, we are talking about 18,000 newton meters that bring you up every hill on this earth. And actually, when we are talking about driving uphill and downhill, of course, we use some energy. And to recharge that battery, we have 2 possibilities. On the one hand, we have an AC charger that can charge this car in the Japanese market with 6 kilowatt. And of course, we can also use the JADEMO system with higher charging speeds up to 150 kilowatt. So then we are talking about roughly 41 minutes to recharge the battery from 10 to 80% SOC. The battery is quite big. So as you can see, it's 116 kilowatt hours. And this is very useful because this brings all the energy into that car to make sure the car is always perfectly prepared for your off-road and your on-road adventure, also here in the Tokyo area. But when I'm talking about off-roading, it's not just about impacts that may appear from a tree or any dangerous situation. I mean, the most important part to protect the car is this one here. Because if you go into real off-road areas with a G-Class, there might be some impacts from below. Stones, some rocks. So we had to make sure that the battery is perfectly prepared for all those conditions. And we didn't just use steel plates like we used them in the front of the car, because, as I already mentioned, it's a 3.1 tons car. So we had to make sure in development that we get every kilogram of weight out of the car. And therefore, our engineers developed a very intelligent underbody protection using a carbon fiber composite material. Also talking in figures, 57 kilogram compared to 180 kilogram we would have used if this would have been a steel plate. So this is really a high-tech underbody protection that saves a lot of weight in the new electric G-Wagon. And I mean, I was already talking about the 41 minutes. This brings you a range of 530 kilometers in WLTC. So it's thanks to the iconic shape of the car, still possible to have a really proper range with the electric G-Wagon. And as you might know, every G-Wagon is tested on Mount Schöckl in Austria. So the G-Class is Schöckl-proofed. Of course, we had to make sure the electric G-Class is also Schöckl-proofed. And when we had the first test rides up and down Mount Schöckl in Austria, we found out that when you go into really hard off-road, and that's really hard off-road, you can conquer that mountain 14 times a day. So up and down 14 times. Our test drivers would never do this, I promise, because it's hurting your back. But you can do this 14 times, and that corresponds to an altitude of more than 8,000 meters. So higher than Mount Everest, just for your imagination. And that's possible with only one charge of battery. Because the cool thing with the electric G-Wagon is, thanks to the low-range gear reduction, if you drive downhill, the car is permanently recuperating. And with the low-range reduction, it's very efficient recuperation. So if you drive up the mountain, you might lose 5% SOC. If you drive down, you might gain back around 3%. And this brings us the possibility to conquer that mountain 14 times. But that's just the basics, ladies and gentlemen. Now the question is, what do our customers experience with the all-new electric G-Wagon? And the most important topic is, whenever you want to use one of those great functions I will present you right now, first of all, you have to switch into low-range reduction. So you just press that middle button up there, low range. And the good thing is, to activate, it's possible like in every combustion G-Wagon. Just push that button, go into neutral gear, and you will switch into the off-road gear mode. And as soon as you activated low range, our off-road crawl mode is activated. It's like an off-road cruise control. So when you activate this one, the car will ride uphill with a permanent speed of 3 to 4, 5 to 6, or 7 to 8 km/h. So the only thing you have to take care about is where you want to go. So just steer the car. You don't have to press the accelerator pedal. You don't have to brake. The car does everything automatically. So there's a lot of intelligence. The brain of the car, it's a box big like this. This is steering all the 4 electric motors and tells every single wheel when to turn, when to accelerate, and where we need the grip. So as you could see, there are no slipping tires. It's all perfectly controlled, and the car brings you up every off-road hill. And now to the fun part, the G-turn. I mean, you just saw it here live on stage. So it's not just a fake function, it's really there. Nobody thought when we created and designed this functionality that this would come to public roads or to areas like this, but it's really possible. So if you push the right button, the G-turn button, it's very important that you make sure, and that's hard for your brain, you will turn on the spot, but you are not allowed to turn the steering wheel. So make sure the steering wheel is always straight, and then you just have to select whether you want to turn right or left. So just pull the pedal on the steering wheel and then pedal to the metal, and you will turn on the spot, as you can see here. So it's also possible, and especially for these areas we created a G-turn. You can turn on the spot. And of course, a 360 or 720 degrees turn, that's just the fun part. That's the roller coaster feeling this car gives you. The real use case is to turn around 180 degrees. So when you're in a dead end on a very small, narrow trail in the woods, for example, and there's a fallen tree, really just turn around 180 degrees and drive back. That's the real use case. The rest is for fun. And the last function, and that's the most important function if you ask me, it's the G steering. So if you push that left button, then we activate the G steering functionality. And here we are using the virtual differential locks and the active torque vectoring of the all-electric G-Wagon. So as you can see here, we really break in the inner wheel to get around really tight corners. And of course, you might think, hey, this is also possible with the combustion version. Yes, it is. But what you didn't see is that we accelerate the wheels on the outer side of the curve. So we are shifting the torque towards the outer wheels. And the more you steer and the more you accelerate, the more torque vectoring you will get and turn around this situation around the tree or around a really narrowed corner. So this is a functionality that brings a lot of fun. You can do it quite quickly. You can do donuts off-road. Please don't use it on public roads. That's very important. You can do donuts. You can use it also very precisely and safely if you turn around a corner in an off-road area. So, as you can see, mission accepted, mission accomplished. All the topics we were engineering for were fulfilled. And on top of every combustion G-Wagon, we are now offering G-steering, off-road crawl, and our G-turn functionality only and exclusively for the G580 with EQ technology. Arigato.
今紹介した G580 with EQ テクノロジーを日本では導入記念モデルとしてエディション1より導入いたします。G580 with EQ テクノロジーエディション1のメーカー希望小売価格は2635万円です。本日より全国の正規販売店にて注文の受付を開始し、お客様へのご納車は11月を予定しております。皆様より先に試乗させていただきましたが、ノイズや振動を抑えていて、とても快適でした。日常走行の快適性とオフロード性能を両立し、電気自動車の新しい可能性を感じることができ、とても楽しい時間を過ごすことができました。ぜひ皆様にもご試乗いただき、この新型 G580 with EQ テクノロジーの魅力を知っていただきたいと思っております。続きましては、マーケティング活動についてご紹介させていただきます。まずは本日より、展開してまいりますテレビ CM をご覧ください。
We're all out here, climbing our own Everests. After every fall, what do you do? Do I hope for a miracle? Or do I try and go back up?
続きましては、この G580 の試乗体験イベントについてご紹介いたします。来月11月24日から12月14日まで、東京代官山の T サイトにて G580 の試乗車を用意した特別なイベントを実施いたします。また今後、関西エリアではメルセデスミー大阪に車を準備し、お客様へ試乗の機会を提供いたします。ぜひこの機会にご利用いただき、G580 を体感いただければと思っております。また電気自動車を安心安全にお乗りいただくためには、保証や充電網の充実が重要と認識しております。この G580 にも新車購入から5年間、または10万キロのいずれか早い方まで一般保証修理、定期メンテナンスが無償で提供される保証プログラム EQ ケアが適用されます。高電圧バッテリーは8年16万キロ以内の長期保証となっております。また全国にある2万2000機以上の充電ネットワークをご利用いただけるメルセデスミーチャージ1年間無料で付帯させていただきます。そしてメルセデス・ベンツは安心な EV ライフを送っていただくために電気自動車の充電網を拡充してまいります。ここからはハイパーチャージングネットワークについてメルセデス・ベンツファイナンス CEO のアンドレアス・レアよりご説明させていただきます。アンドレアスPlease come up to the stage.
Thank you very much, Go-san, for the introduction. Good morning, dear guests. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Andreas Lehr, and I'm the CEO of Mercedes-Benz Finance. The reason why I'm on stage today is not that I want to tell you about how you can lease or finance or insure this fantastic new car, but instead, I would like to talk to you about our new business field, which is the Mercedes-Benz high-power charging network. And this we will be going to start in Q1 2025. For this new business, we will establish a new company called Mercedes-Benz High-Power Charging Japan GK. And it will be dedicated to the charging all over Japan. With this new setup in a developing business field, we will be able to provide state-of-the-art charging experience under the name of Mercedes-Benz, not only for our loyal customers, but also for other XEV drivers. The new company will have myself as the CEO, and Stefan Kröll will be appointed the CFO. So let's have a closer look what we are planning to do. We will actually install 25 high-power charging stations by the end of 2026. And if we convert this, this means it equals to 50 chargers and 100 plugs with 150 kilowatt. So how are we going to realize this investment project? In order to have a quick-to-market approach and to have an excellent customer experience, we have decided for a strong partnership with the best player in the market, which is PowerX. And I'm very happy that Ito-san, who is the director, president, and CEO of PowerX Inc., will join me now on stage. A very warm welcome to Ito-san. Give him a hand, and thank you. A very warm welcome, Ito-san, and thank you for sharing a couple of words about our joint project.
パワー X の伊藤でございます。この度は弊社を充電パートナーにお選びいただきまして、深く御礼申し上げます。同時に身の引き締まる思いでございまして、我々メルセデス・ベンツのオーナーの皆様を含め、多くの EV ユーザーの方々に最も最適な充電体験をご提供できるよう頑張ってまいります。我々としては誰にでも使いやすい超急速充電器が便利な場所にあって、さらに全国に展開されているからこそ EV の普及にもう不可欠だと思っております。パワー X はこの度の取り組みのためにですね、メルセデス様専用の充電ポストといいましょうか、ディスペンサーユニットというものを開発を行いまして、高彩度のタッチパネルディスプレイを用いてより使いやすい充電器を開発させていただきました。また今回はパワー X は充電器の開発、さらに提供のみならずステーションの開発から運営まで一気通貫で行ってまいります。来年順次充電ステーションを開発しオープンし、常時お客様にご利用いただけるよう全力を尽くしてまいります。日本の EV の普及、脱炭素の実現に少しでも貢献できればと思っておりまして、我々全力で社員一同頑張ってまいります。改めて貴重な機会をいただきまして本当にありがとうございます。
Thank you so much, Ito-san. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm personally really looking forward to a very strong and successful partnership and of course to many happy customers that we will have together. So now I would like to close our announcement by giving you today a first clue how the Mercedes-Benz charging station in Japan will look like. And you can see it here behind us, of course, with this beautiful new electric G-Class. We would love to tell you a little bit more about which stations will be the first ones, what kind of services can you expect. Unfortunately, we cannot do this yet today. So therefore, I kindly ask for your patience for more details that we will share then actually as soon as we are going to open up the first sites next year and until we will do the next official announcements. So having said that, thank you very much for your attention, and thank you very much for hopefully not only the excitement about this great new electric Mercedes and the new G-Class, but hopefully also your excitement about our new project about the Mercedes-Benz high-power charging network going forward into the future. Thank you very much. And I'm handing back to Wöltinger-san.
Dankeschön. レアさん、伊藤社長、ありがとうございました。魅力的なプロダクト、サービスの展開、ブランド体験のご提供を通じ、お客様の心を動かす、また選ばれるブランドとなるよう活動してまいります。本日は G ワールドをぜひお楽しみください。ご清聴ありがとうございました。